So hello and welcome to episode 12 of Up the Villa podcast. Before we start, I just want to say I'll be giving away the away shirt from last season. So to win this shirt, all you've got to do is subscribe to this channel and drop a comment of Up the Villa podcast below. So I'm delighted to say I'm joined by John Insley of AVFC KIT GEEK. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Luke. How about yourself? You okay?
Yeah, I'm really good. So before we start, how are you feeling about Villa surviving 1 week on?
I'm just excited. I was in shock for quite a while. I mean, the day was pretty nervous. I was actually watching the final game with a blue nose, I've never seen somebody as excited as when West Ham equalised.
Yeah.
He couldn't have been more happy. I just had no expectations that it would stay up. So I went into the final day thinking if we go down, that's what I'm ready for. And just to stay up. Still seems surreal, to be honest, but exciting that my new shirt's been ordered with the patch, the Premier League patch already on it. So just excited again.
I think this is like an exciting time, like you say, when you start seeing like signings that we could be making, you know, whether they're realistic or not. It just gets you really excited and optimistic for the new season. So, you know, talking about the new kit, what are your thoughts on it?
I quite like it. It's always a strange one until you get one in the flesh. The reveal video was annoying until I got some pictures because it was a digital graphic, and I was like, what does it actually look like? Things look different digitally. So, I mean, I've got the Kappa ones from this year, so I know what they're sort of going to be like, and I know obviously there's going to be the pro version and the standard version. I quite like it. Looking forward to seeing what happens with the away and probably the third shirt to see what they do with those. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of issues with some of the quality, wasn't it? Some of the Kappa stuff that people say it sort of came up in the wash. I haven't had any issues with sort of particularly, but I always like new shirt dates. It's exciting. So, what about you? Did you like it?
Yeah, I really like it. I feel like this season they've got the claret right. I think last season it looked a bit dull for me, and I think it does look a lot better, especially on the picture of McGinn. I really like it. So you are an avid Aston Villa football kit collector in general. So how did you fall in love with collecting football shirts?
So when I was little, it was always my standard Christmas present from my grandparents and from my parents. I had a Villa shirt. It was just they never had to ask what I wanted. It was the same every year. They just got it. The only thing they ever asked was who I wanted on the back, and I picked a player who I liked at the time, and then sort of as life happens, they just all they went. I didn't have them anymore. They sort of got lost along the way as life happens. And then sort of I started getting a few more, and then I was just on eBay popping around and starting to see more, and I started getting into it then about sort of 3 or 4 years ago, maybe a bit longer, sort of 4 or 5 years ago. Started really thinking I'm going to get every shirt from 1987, which is sort of the first shirt I really remember having, all the way up until present day, and I wanted every shirt I could possibly get hold of, sort of home, away, thirds, and sort of random ones that existed. And then over the last, I would say, year to 18 months, I've sort of get a group of friends that I now have sort of in various different kit collector WhatsApp groups and people like 1 to 11 Kits who I know really well through this, who sort of me out with some sort of really good shirts, and we sort of help each other out. So it's quite a little collector sort of group now of people that sort of go, oh, have you got this one? I've got this one I'm trying to get rid of, and that way. And then I've just sort of Dave Hitchman, who's sort of like an absolute genius in Villa kit history. I went to see his collection when I sort of had bought a shirt from him, and went to his and saw his collection, which is just puts anyone to shame because they're all player versions. And then I got into just loving all football shirts. So I've got things like the Germany 1991, and sort of the Italian shirt from '94 World Cup with Baggio on the back from when he missed the penalty. And
no way.
I'm soon going to have completed my Villa kit shirt, so I need to find other ones to collect because it's just a buzz. I just love it. I just love it. Love talk about kits all the time and all people. And
what do you look for in a kit then? Is there something specific that sort of ticks all the boxes for you?
Well, for Villa, it's just having the set. So for me with Villa, it's having the set. There's ones that I favour more because of the design that I like, and there's other ones that are really rare ones that people either don't know exist or or just they're very hard to come by. With the other shirts, I think it's iconic moments. I like some of the sort of weird and wacky shirts. So the Baggio missing the penalty was a sort of one of the first World Cups I properly remember in '94. The Germany kit from '90s, quite an iconic shirt. And yeah, just shirts that are a bit different. There's a Mexico one that I really like. It's got sort of a crazy pattern on the front, and yeah, so just kits that I like now, because Villa was always going to be get every single one, because it's Villa, and then it was going to be look at ones that sort of excite me a little bit and ones that I like getting.
Cool. So I hear the phrase player version branded around by kit collectors quite a lot. So for anybody watching that doesn't know what that means, fill us in.
So it's not always been the case. Some there aren't much differences than the standard one. So for this one, it's more obvious nowadays, because Villa this year have launched the Pro version and the standard version. So the Pro version is the exact one that a player wears. It's normally made of a better material, sort of breathable. It's sort of stretchier almost. It's got like an under type vest feel to them. They're quite stretchy in sort of feel. So that has always been the case for quite a long time. It's always been the case that there have been ones that were made for the players which are slightly different to the ones that are sold in the shop. It might be like a better material or more sort of breathable material, so that they're often more expensive. Some of the shirts I'll go through in a bit. There's massive differences in them. So some of the '94 one that's here, there are some really big differences in them. So for people who want to look at getting them, for example, like the Nike shirt, any Nike shirts that's player ones, there's no inside washing label. So normally there's a label on shirts, but on the Nike ones, it's a printed label on inside to stop irritation. So the player versions are ones that the players actually either wore themselves or were put aside for squad ones, or put aside. So they're often different material, or just have really tiny little differences. Things like the printing on the back. So the sleeve patches are slightly different. The printing on the back is often felt rather than sort of the vinyl stuff that you get. It's not the case now, but sort of the Nike kits, the 2009 shirts, those sorts of kits, the Acorns ones, the printing was actually like a felt rather than a vinyl one that you could get. So there are some very subtle differences. There were people more knowledgeable than me, but that's what I look for, and I've sort of got to know, especially with Villa. So the Villa ones, Villa have had Recon on the back. So this shirt and a few previous ones, we had Recon on the back. You can remember when players were playing, they had Recon written on the back. They were definitely different material. So this one is sort of quite stretchy. I don't know if it picks it up on the camera, but there's like almost a threading through it where it didn't exist on it. So this one's sort of tags in to keep it on. But so I've got one here. So this is the easy one is to look on so this is the last season's one. So this is the cup final edition. And it's got the player version of the cup patch. So this is a bigger patch than you would have found on the ones you could buy from the shop. So this is, I then had a silicone badge. So for those of people who didn't get or haven't seen the elite version of these shirts, the Kappa ones, the badge is actually rubber like it was on the Luke shirts, whereas on the standard version, it's just a material. So this is now an exact replica of what the players wore, with the embossing on the thing and the player cut patch. So there will be no difference to this as to what sort of Grealish or anyone put on the day. There isn't. It's an exact copy. So it's either they wore it. So there's a difference. There's either a player version, which are ones that were made for the squad but maybe never made it, and then there's ones that were actually player worn ones. I would say if people who want to buy them, be careful on the player worn ones. Try and get from a reputable seller or with some sort of certificate of authenticity, because it's easy to. So this one, for example, the one I just showed you, you can't find it in the shop. You wouldn't be able to find one in the shop. And if this one, I haven't seen one of these at all on eBay. So I could print the name and number on the back and go, this is a player one, and there is actually no difference to what would be a player version, because it is a player version in effect. And basically clubs have realised that people will pay extra to have the exact shirt that players wear. So if you look, it's 90 quid for the Pro version this year compared to, was it 50, is it 60, 55, 58 or something? for the standard version. So it's quite a lot of difference.
Yeah. Definitely, but it's really interesting. So I've asked you to bring in a few of your favourites or a few kits that you've got. So which one do you want to start with?
We'll start with the one I've got on.
Cool.
So this is from 2018, and it was never released. There was a picture of it leaked at one point. There's a quite a famous club shop picture that was leaked with this on, and everybody got excited that it was going to be released. And it never came about. It never made its way out. It was a season when we had the black Unibet one, and it just never came out. They never needed it, so it never got released. So, from my knowledge, there's probably about 150 of these, 100 or so of these. I don't know exact numbers, but there's not that many. I happened to find 8 in a charity shop in a basket.
No way.
Just sitting there, that were been put there by mistake, I think. They were marked up at £8 each. So I bought the lot. I bought all of them. Bought a stack of them in various sizes and things. And so people like Dan Bardell had one off me. And then I donated back to the charity shop because they just didn't know what they had. They were in with the shorts. Because again, this is going on geeky sort of knowledge that actually this just, if you took the badge and just the Under Armour, it looks like the shorts. If you didn't know what was there and they were folded up in a little bag, people just assumed they were the white shorts from that thing. So they were stuck in the shorts bin in a charity shop. So I sort of picked them up, and I was almost sort of shaking it. It's like, this is man. How are these sitting there? The woman at the till was just like, "You want all of these?" I was like, "Yeah." I thought I was waiting for somebody to stop me as I came out, thinking you're not having those, and just got them all out. I got a picture somewhere on my phone of them all just laid out on my bed, all 8 of them. But it's a lovely shirt. It's one of my favourites really actually in a while. It's got a really nice sort of claret collar. And it's obviously because it was never released, they only ever made the player versions of them. So it's quite a stretchy material. And the player versions were never released at all this year. So these are a completely different material. They're a much tighter fit than the standard ones that were available from this season. And I like it. I like the claret on the sleeves.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice.
It's a really smart shirt.
Yeah.
It's just a really smart shirt, and it's I think it's one of my favourites in design. There's a one from the previous year that was like all white, that wasn't released either, and it had QuickBooks across the front, and that was never released either. I've only seen about 10 of those, and I don't like that as much. I have to say, I've got pictures of those as well, because I've got that one, and this is just a really nice shirt. It fits really nicely. I think it looks nice. My only thing is I'm scared to ever wear it to Villa because, no, my luck, there's a pie being spilt down it, and then it's just one of those things that I don't want to ever damage or spoil, because you just won't get it again. You just
definitely not.
Won't get it again.
But no, it's a really nice shirt. One that I've got my eye on behind you is the silver MG one.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that one. So
this was made for a game against Liverpool, as far as I know. Again, Dave Hitchman so you don't know him, Dave Hitchman. He is the sort of ultimate knowledge on it, but it was made for a game. So these are only player ones. Again, there's not a huge amount of difference actually from the one that you'd buy in the shops. So obviously the one that we would have had in the shops didn't have MG on the front, that NTL.
Yeah, it did.
So this is the same season as the NTL shirt, but was made for a one-off game where there was going to be a clash Liverpool, because our sponsor, there's something about it where there was going to be a clash that was made. I'm sure it was to play against Liverpool. They made these so they took the shirt with the NTL on, took that off, put on the MG badge. Oh, that was it. So our away shirt this season was the white one.
Okay.
It was the white one with MG on. So the white would have clashed with Liverpool shorts. The claret would have clashed with them. So they pulled out the grey shirt from the previous season and whacked on the MG badge from the current sponsor. I don't know if that made sense in the end, what I said. So this was from the season where we had the white MG one. So this one obviously the player one, because they only made a set for the squad. So all of these they're pre-named. So this one's Alan Wright's shirt. So some of the stuff I was talking about, again, I don't know how close it comes up on camera, but the lettering is quite big, and it's felt. So this is what you can tell is a player version of lettering, because it's got so it's quite thick lettering, it's quite large lettering, and the player patches again. I'll hold up. So I've got another one with player patches, but they're quite big. They're a little bit bigger, as far as I'm aware, than that. But it's a nice. It's huge though, as with all the Diodora ones. So this is a medium, and it's absolutely massive.
It's huge.
It's huge. So if you can see, like, it's nearly 1.5. It's massive, and this is a medium. But yeah, so it's never ever worn. Never worn. But a nice shirt.
It's
a lot of people don't spot the difference because they just see the grey thing and think, yeah, that's the shirt. And it takes a few people clock, actually, wasn't that, when we had NTL and then that happens. But it's a really nice shirt. It's just massive. You can see there lined out. It's huge.
Yeah. I remember having it as a kid, but obviously I had the NTL on the front.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I think one thing that's crazy when you look at shirts like that now is actually how big it is. You know,
massive, a lot of them are.
Compared to the kits that we got now, so say Kappa, you get the Pro, it's skin tight. The difference between those kits now, it's crazy.
It is. I mean, this one is like it's a large, and it's massive. It's sort of like massive. It's really tight on you, and you know that it's got like a stretchy feel to it. Whereas this one, you put it on, it's like a tent.
Yeah,
and it's a medium. But it's a lovely. It's a nice one to have. It's a. I pride myself in trying to get the really sort of rare ones that no one else has. And people have got way better collections than me, but I like to try and get the niche ones. But yeah, this one was not many people have seen it, and I like to tell people about it. I'm sure as it comes across tonight, I could talk for hours and do. So some people want to listen, and some people don't. I just talk anyway.
That shirt's like got a real good like story behind it as well, which makes sense in why they wore it, and obviously the sponsor as well. You know, I always think as well, like, imagine if that colour shirt came out now. I wonder how it would go down, whether it would be a hit or not. Because obviously it's pretty different, isn't it? Really.
Well, a lot of people like the green and black, didn't they? The '94 green and black. Yeah. So they tried it this year. Well, last season now. And it really was mixed, wasn't it? It was a real Marmite shirt. I know some people who hated it, and I know some people who liked it. So it's really difficult, I think, to try and bring back a shirt, for example, that people recognise, because people have such affinity to seasons and players and things that you try and replicate it. You're always going to sort of you're never going to quite get it like it was. I mean, the grey shirt, there's nothing that offensive about the grey shirt, I don't think, as general. Even the NTL one, it was just sort of like the team, really. It was all right. It was
definitely. So another shirt. What you got? What are you going to bring in next?
So we'll go with the Muller, because the Muller's a real favourite of people. Now this is a player version.
Okay.
Now this is where player versions were massively different. So I've got this one just to show the difference. Yeah. So if I can get the badge on camera, so there's a huge difference in the badge. Definitely. So this here is like a stick-on badge, like a stick-on felt badge that most of you are used to. But the player one, it's embroidered, so it's actually stitched into the shirt.
No way.
So it's stitched in. So it's a completely different shirt. Again, massive. This is a large, and again, it's absolutely enormous. But so again, you see it with the player number. I don't know if you can see it, but it's stitched in. So the number itself, as opposed to being printed on, is actually stitched in. And I just love this shirt. This shirt was always one of my favourites. Just a classic with Villa. I don't know any Villa fan that doesn't like this shirt, really. So this is one of my favourites because I finally managed. It took me a while to get hold of one. It took sort of a friend of a friend of a friend to finally sort of persuade them to sell. But I like having that in the collection. It also means I can now wear my standard version.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. I've got one that hangs back. So my recent thing is getting ones printed. Yeah. So on this one, so I got Atkinson printing in the same lettering and things. So got a sort of a person in Belfast called Footprint. So he's on Twitter and on Instagram. He does a lot of sort of my retro printing and things. But yeah, the 1994 for me is just a lovely shirt.
I think it's definitely one of my favourites as well. And I think I've heard that this season's away is going to have some form of thin lines down. So it takes, I guess it takes a little bit, something away from that shirt as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
And obviously, the Muller sponsor, it's just a legendary sponsor, isn't it?
And we won something in it as well.
Yeah.
Kit's always a more sort of prominent, and people want them when we won something in it. It's like the 96 one, the Reebok one. They had the really nice lettering on the back. People love that one because we won the cup in it as well. So people have a real affinity for shirts where we actually did something in them. The Muller's always a favourite. It's always one I bring out when I get a chance to sort of talk about kits, which is not that often as most people have heard my stories already about them.
No, but it's a real cool shirt. Just touching on the badges then. So do you have a favourite badge that we've had on a kit so far?
I still like this badge. This one is probably up there for me. That badge, I do like that badge. I'm not a round badge fan.
No.
Not a fan of it. I just, if I could pick any badge that I've seen, it wouldn't be that to bring back. It would probably be this one, if I'm honest.
I think I'd agree.
But again, that's because that's what I grew up with. I grew up with that as Villa's badge. So I think it would be, if I could bring one back, it would be that one with the clown and blue stripes and the Aston Villa FC across the top, and that I think would be my badge. I'm not a fan of this badge from last season. I do quite like it. I like the star for the European Cup, obviously, on it. But that would be my favourite, I think. What about you? What would you go?
Yeah, same as you, to be fair. I do like the badge we've got. I definitely think it looks better now. It's sort of been a bit more silicone. I think it just pops out a little bit more. I think in the previous shirts, when it was just sort of like flat and that material, don't really think it does enough for me. But if it's silicone, then I like it. But then again, it's like maybe we're due a little bit of a change now, just maybe a tweak, because I think we're over that era now, aren't we? And I think as we're trying to progress and establish ourselves again, maybe some form of tweak would be quite nice in the future. But I'm not you. I wouldn't go around.
It's very much the Learner era, wasn't it? The badge. It was very much the badge that Learner brought in. The change with the crest and the AVFC as opposed to Aston Villa and the star. So maybe we are due something slightly different. I don't know what I would sort of take a step back from that, because it's so sort of difficult to get it right, because you never will. You'll never get everybody like it. It's like with every shirt release, you'll never get everybody like it. I have to say that badge would probably be my favourite of the badges that we've had. Again, just because of the sort of memories I've got of it, like the shirt you've got on. I love the 93 shirt with the laces. Would you say, which is your favourite shirt? Is it the one you've got on, or is it?
I'd say it's 95, 96 for me. Because I'd just say that was when I first proper got into like Aston Villa as a fan. So I think nostalgically, you do go backwards, don't you? I think, and it just sits well with me. Like my family when we was watching Villa and stuff, and it just brings back like like nostalgic memories. So I'd say that one, to be fair. And then you've got one more behind you, which I probably would say.
So this is obviously the one that people like a lot.
Yeah.
So this was 2 seasons ago now, the Luke one, but I managed to get hold of the playoff final version.
Yeah.
So they released, I think it was 400 of these just beforehand, just before the playoff final. So it's got as opposed to the championship, it's got playoffs on the badge. Nice. And then it's got the yellow player version of this one. So this one's a rubber badge as opposed to being a silicone badge. This one's a rubberized badge, but it's got the sort of
such a nice top
on it, which is nice. It's a really nice shirt.
Yeah.
And the crazy money at the moment, in fairness, to buy the silly money at the moment, the Luke shirts, they're so popular. It's a really nice shirt, the away one. I've got obviously the away and the third shirt. I do love that home one. Again, it's just another one I was pleased to be able to add, was the one with the playoff.
Yeah.
Especially as we won it, the playoff thing on the front of it.
I do think the kit sponsor makes a shirt as well. I think for me, if it can subtly blend with the shirt, it makes the shirt look so much better. I think this year's sponsor makes the shirt look better. And and I think all of the shirts that you've showed, like, they're not too extreme, and they do just blend and fit in with the shirt. I think the W last year for me it just didn't work.
It was quite big across the front, and all. The other thing I'm talking about, I am pleased that we finally have a non. It is nice to move away. It seems like forever since we've had nothing. One that wasn't betting was sort of being sort of Unibet, 32 Red, and W88. So I think it's nice that actually we're going to have a sort of kazoo, so we have a non-betting one. But you're right, a sponsor can make and break a shirt. Again, but when we'll call it like the AST shirt, for example, because that's what they remember being written across the front, or stuff like that. The Miles Copiers ones that we had in the 90s, like your one. The shirts just get linked with them, don't they? You just sort of remember the shirt or the sponsor it had. Apart from the Luke one, the Luke one is one of the ones that isn't like that. It's just called the Luke shirt. Or not many people say, "Do you remember that one we had with 32 Red on?" But lots of other shirts have, like this one here. A lot of people saying, "Oh, the Muller shirt, or the AST shirt." That people remember them, whereas this one was just the Luke shirt.
Yeah, and I think, especially for me, when I think, when I am picking a favourite, I do go towards the Luke one as well, because a fan of my age, I've not really seen us win anything. So to actually see us achieve something in a shirt, obviously, again, it takes you back to that moment, doesn't it? So it's just a memory of like the shirt and the occasions and the feel of the club at the time as well. So I think to pick a shirt, it has to go with everything else around it, doesn't it, really?
It does. And this is why a lot of the favourites stick into people's minds, like the 94, the 96, because they remember the cup finals. So people who were looking up to go to the cup finals back then remember going. I remember going last to the playoff final last year. So I remember the sort of experience of going up. I'd been to the Fulham the year before when we lost, and how devastating that was. And the shirts go with what people remember. I remember the 96 win vividly. I remember watching it. So I loved that shirt at the time. And it was before when you used to be able to choose your lettering on the back of shirts. So playing Premier League clubs could have their own style of lettering. So those shirts had some really nice, if you remember, they had like a blue and a claret on the home shirts. And then the away shirts had a really, really nice lettering. But then the Premier League standardised it all and said everyone has to have the same lettering across the back. They can change the colour, but that's about it. So I really like those 96 shirts because the lettering is completely different. The away shirt lettering is really nice.
So let's just briefly finish off talking about AVFC KIT GEEK. You're on Twitter and you're on YouTube, so you're posting different kits, and it's a real good content what you're putting out there. So why did you do that?
I just wanted to be able to put like pictures of all my shirts. Really, I wanted to put pictures of my shirts because I collect them and people I know have them. But it's just a hobby. So I've got all these shirts. I like. It's quite sad, really, in a way. I like sort of having them and looking at them and trying certain ones on. Again, my favourite ones. So I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna just have a platform to do it on. And my friend Sean from 1211 said, why not go on Instagram? Why not put them on Instagram and just sort of do something a bit different on there? So just again, talk me through my friends. So Dan Rollinson said, well, why don't you do a video of each shirt and put together a little video of each shirt? So I like to do on my Instagram, I do 3 posts per shirt. I do one of any nice detail of the shirt. So maybe there's some special lettering on the back or a nice sleeve patch. And then I'll do a video of the shirt. So some close-ups of the badge and the player name on the back if there is one or something different. And then just a picture of me wearing it. So as for those of you who've been on, or if you've been on and people who don't go on, what you'll see is a row of 3 for every single shirt that I put together. So just to look at it different ways. And honestly, it's just been a way to look at my shirts again and take pictures of my shirt and try them on again, because some of them there's no reason to put them on, but you sort of got so many, you think, I'm going to put it on again. Yeah,
no, it's really cool. So is there any shirt that's obviously not Villa related, it could be international, any other team? What's the one shirt that you haven't got that you want?
That's a tough question. There's a couple of England shirts that
Yeah.
I'd like. I like the Italia 90 shirts, the England Italia 90 shirts. I think they would be a really nice one to have. I like those. They've got a lot of sort of iconic moments in them. The Gaza crying one with the Lineker nodding across to the manager. That shirt. There's a Mexico shirt. I can't remember what year it is, and it's got like sort of these emblems across, sort of been blazoned across the middle. The Mexico one is one that I'd like to get. And I like getting some of the sort of getting a decent shirt from each of the big clubs in Europe. So a decent Juve shirt, an AC Milan shirt, Real Madrid, Barca, getting some of those, and then some of the random ones. I've been waiting to complete my Villa collection before I start sort of branching out, and I'm almost there. There's some shirts I've given up on that I won't get because they just don't exist, apart from about 3 people who will cling on to them. But I think it's some of the international shirts that I like. And Sean, who's at One to Know, he always is sending me pictures of shirts going, what about this one? And I'm thinking, well, I love that. I'm going to get it. I think the Mexico would be one I would like to get hold of. I can't remember what year it is, but it's just got some really crazy sort of like printing across the front, which is nice.
No. So it's been really cool chatting to you today. I just want to finish off by saying everybody follow AVFC KIT GEEK on Instagram and Twitter. You can find out all these images, all his collection. It's really good. So just definitely give him a follow. So thanks for watching this video. Up the Villa.
Thanks. Up the Villa.